Hello, hello, welcome back to A Course in Miracles. I'm Tomas, and thank you for joining me. All right. I'm always excited about the day's idea here in the workbook. And well, similarly, when we have a video in this series that is not a workbook idea, and there are several of those, I'm also excited about that. Today's idea is lesson 283, and it's uplifting. That's going to be my word today, is uplifting. And I hope that this message is uplifting to you. And I hope that it inspires you to put it into practice. I hope that it inspires you to go deeper with your own spiritual journey, with your own walk, whatever that may look like. Because as you know, A Course in Miracles is not the end-all, be-all, only version of spirituality that people can benefit from, thank God. Thank God we have the entire gamut of world spirituality available to us in the 21st century. So whether you take A Course in Miracles as your primary focus of practice, or whether it's simply an adjunct, whether it's something that you draw inspiration and some ideas from, and you work on something else, it's great that you're here. Yes. One of the reasons I do these videos is so that no matter where you find yourself in the world, no matter what your spiritual walk looks like, no matter what your journey, your path, your practice, or if you don't have one and you're looking, no matter what your station or situation is at the moment, there is something of value for you in each and every one of these ideas from the workbook. And this is 100% true, guys, whether you do the workbook in its entirety or not. If you do, your experience will be manifestly different. That's an understatement. Yeah, vast understatement. But if you don't, so be it. There's still much to be gained. Much. All right. So let's get right to it here. Lesson 283, my true identity abides in you. Yeah. My true identity abides in you. Now, as you might imagine, identity is written with a capital I here. Self with a capital S, identity with a capital I. Thought of God, Son of God, God's creation. Call it whatever you will, right? Our identity abides in God. My true identity abides in you is a statement. My self, who I am, abides in you. Now, we're the ones. Now, this is difficult for the ego to admit. In fact, it refuses to admit and accept this, but we've made up our separate identities. Identity with a little I is us running amok, isn't it? It's war. It's threats of war. It's attack in any form that it may take, which includes something as apparently benign as a judgmental thought, all the way up to global warfare. Any thought, any action, anything we say that's based on the idea of separation is something that we made up. Now, what is wonderful and beautiful, and I hope that you draw some serious hardcore inspiration from this because it's beautiful, loving, and wonderful, is that who we are has never changed, guys. It's never changed. Our true identity abides in God. Ideas leave not their source, one of the common and famous themes from A Course in Miracles. It's not possible for ideas to leave their source, capital S here, right? Ideas leave not their source. My true identity abides in you. We're the ones that have made up all of the drama. Think about how we run amok in the world and create all of our suffering. And it's needless. It's needless because we could, so to speak, return home. And that's not, it sounds like a physical journey because we're using words, but it's not a physical journey at all because who we are has never gone anywhere. There's no place for it to go. God has literally created everything that is. Divisions of time and space, we made those up. Now, they appear to govern our lives in the world. We've simply agreed that they govern our lives. What if, guys, you were to withdraw that agreement? What then? What then? Right? What if you were to withdraw your agreement from the fact that you're cut off from your brothers and sisters by things like political boundaries, geopolitical boundaries like borders, countries? What actually is a country, really? Well, it's a random, oddly drawn, oblong, sometimes crooked looking shape on a map that someone drew up a long time ago. What is that really? We could withdraw our agreement that we're limited. We could choose instead to listen to the voice for God, the Holy Spirit. You could choose instead to listen to your guide or guides. You could choose that right now. When else? We could agree that, yeah, all of this suffering is not real. It's not who we are. Now, this, of course, in Miracles cuts right to the chase. And yes, it's not for everybody. I mean, it is ultimately, but right now here in the world, there are many people, and perhaps you include yourself among those, that find these ideas far-fetched. So be it. It's not possible to solve a problematic mindset within the schema of that problem. In other words, it's not possible to solve the world's problems using the world's logic, using the world's tools, like military budgets, like warfare, like violence, like judgment, like economic attacks. It's not possible to solve the world's ills using the tools of the world itself. That's not how we reach what we're really looking for, which is the peace of God. It's our own identity. So we've got to do it differently. How? By adopting a different thought system. Rather than experiencing chaotic, violent, and frantic dreams, we allow ourselves to experience loving and forgiving dreams. In which we we agree to overlook differences. We see each other as one because we are. God created everything. Everyone alive is, therefore, the Son of God. There are no exceptions. So no matter what someone does or has done, whether this person is someone living now or a historical figure, doesn't matter. No matter what they've done, they are the Son of God and no less deserving of your love and forgiveness than your own child. And when we present the ego with that one, naturally resistance comes up, doesn't it? So what do you do when resistance arises? Well, expect it, number one. I mean, of course, right? Of course, that's going to come up on the path, some hardcore resistance. And the more you begin to lay the ego aside, the harder that resistance seems to be, doesn't it? I mean, it can appear violent and very harsh and extraordinarily chaotic. It can appear to be really fucked up, can't it? So what do we do? Well, it's present moment awareness that matters in all of life, in spirituality. It's noticing when we're carried away. It's noticing when we're judging our neighbor. And to put it in terms, if you're familiar with Christianity, as many of you are, it's being aware of when we're not loving our neighbor as ourself, right? It's when we're demonizing, when we're holding ourselves out as separate, as other than. If we refuse to do that, we help our brothers and sisters tremendously. In fact, in the text of A Course in Miracles, Jesus tells us that if we withdraw our agreement that we're separate, in other words, if we see ourselves with the vision of Christ as one, then other people cannot project their own guilt and fear onto you. If you withdraw your agreement that you're separate, they cannot harm you in any way. What does this do? It helps them tremendously, saves them, heals them. We're talking the ultimate healing thoughts here in A Course in Miracles. Forgiveness is so valuable, so tremendous in ways that we can't even imagine when we're doing it. Truly, we cannot even imagine the broad-reaching impact of a loving action. It continues to extend itself. This is what love does. This is what God does and what God is. And as we saw in the very most recent lesson, God's name is love, and so is yours. Ideas leave not their source. My true identity abides in you. So it's shared. It's shared with every living thing. It's shared with God himself. Why? Because ideas leave not their source. So it's that the idea that ideas leave not their source is a foundational piece of this course. It's a foundational component to A Course in Miracles. And it's worth repeating over and over again. There's so many things that I've said countless times and that I'll say countless times again. Why? Because I never know who's watching right now in the present moment. Yeah, that's why we're putting this on YouTube, so people can, at any time, from anywhere in the world, access the teachings of God, of which I'm simply an instrument. The work, well, I can't do it for you. You do that yourself. And I hope that you take lesson 283, well, and all of the workbook lessons to heart, because they're powerful and amazing. Yeah, my true identity abides in you. Beautiful, beautiful idea. Take this to heart today, will you? And practice it. And of course, I will see you right back here. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me.